What's happening, fam? L.A.R. movement still moving. Book is entitled Lessons from a Non-Custodial Father at Amazon, Kindle, and Create Space. A link will be in the description box below as usual. This video is entitled Bill Cosby and Nas. Since Bill Cosby was found guilty, I'm going to talk about that in that setup. But I'm also reference Nas later on in the video because of I get comments from older videos about black women saying, you know, see, that's what you get messing with them white chicks. And I get it. But I'm going to use Khalees as a reference for this one also. You know, so it's a lot. This is intertwined with everybody. Everybody, okay? So let's get to it. The Bill Cosby thing, you knew was a possibility that he was going to be found guilty. Is he guilty of rape? I don't think so. But being found guilty, yeah, it was a setup from the day one. Like, people forget that the judge ran, or prosecutor ran, his whole reason for running was to get Bill Cosby found guilty. So if that didn't stack the deck, I don't know what did. That should create a mistrial in itself. Then you had a juror saying, you know, let's just find him guilty and get it over with, which creates a mistrial. But it's that atmosphere, you know, the media part of it. It's the atmosphere. So when I look at it, you know, I'm like, yeah, I could see it. I mean, I could see it because when you think about it, like, and all the people that turned on him and the few people that stayed with him, this normally happens with brothers. You know, you get set up, you found guilty, everybody dumps on you or creates a spin propaganda cycle to make everybody feel like you're guilty. Then if you wind up getting a guilty charge, everybody celebrates. And then time passes and people say, yeah, I kind of lied after the damage is done. And then everybody acts like, ooh, my bad. Let's just move on to the next subject. This is what's going on, you know. I think everybody involved, there's going to be a special place in hell for them. But they ain't dead yet, right? Because for all the people who say, okay, Bill Cosby's a win for me too. I would just bet that if Bill Cosby's guilty of this, and it's pretty much a hearsay type of thing, right? And something that was already settled previously, then if he is actually charged with 30 years, Harvey Weinstein getting life, right? Kevin Spacey, that's child molestation. What is the father from Seventh Heaven? You can go back and do that all over again. He's getting life because he admitted to having sex with molesting a child. People are gonna go back and mess with Charlie Sheen because he was getting doing drugs with people, and while he had HIV. You know, that's the problem with these situations is that, you know, and all the people that wanted to ruin Cosby and destroy his legacy at the same time, they're gonna turn right around. And they was hush mouth when it came to Harvey Weinstein, right? Now they're going to turn right around again and probably start talking about Bill again. And then when it's Harvey's turn, go silent again. So it's crazy. Same thing like even with D.L. Hughley, right? You know, and all the Hollywood people, we've known what Bill Cosby's been doing this for years. And I remember when D.L. Hughley had the thing about he had a side baby and the boyfriend of the woman that he had the baby with beat the child to death, and he couldn't tell his wife because he wasn't supposed to have a side baby because he was married. So it's one of those situations where, you know, y'all all doing too much in these streets. That's what's going on. As far as the drug culture, women getting raped, I think people better chill out with that. Because for all y'all who don't know, Quaaludes was considered the love drug. You know what I'm saying? Back in the day. You know, the same way some of y'all who are outraged use ecstasy. That's like 10 years later, you coming back after you was using ecstasy and you got high, and now you regret some of the things you did. Say you got raped when you were part of a drug culture, hippie type, free love, Woodstock-esque type thing going on. Same thing, but people don't want to say that. The same thing with people who get high and drunk. You drink, oh, I don't normally do this. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen, and people are gonna go retroactively go back to stuff. I bring up the thing with Russell Simmons. The lady said the same thing about him, and then he said, his difference was he can, even though Cosby could prove some things, he can't prove everything because the technology wasn't around to prove things like there is now. He proved a lot, though. I could say that he proved a lot. So he kept a lot of paperwork on himself. But like I was saying, Russell Simmons, the lady said Russell assaulted me, and he said he got pictures of her sending him nudes weeks later. That's the same type of thing that happened with this Constantine chick. Nobody gets raped and goes kicking it with their rapist. Everybody wants to act like that nah, that ain't what's up. That's not what people do. Never going to the police, none of all this stuff. So to never be arrested and charged with this, and then to be convicted of it, that's a whole nother thing. Even selling it out of court and paying somebody like, all right, whatever. And then they go away, and then, somebody runs to I'm going to get this back in court before the statute of limitation ends. And he did it like the very last day, like 13 hours before they could just end it, even though it was supposed to be sealed in the first place. Like, this is the reason why I say it's a setup, because a sealed document that was supposed to basically run its course and be a settlement got reopened. So should the woman get her money back? I'm just saying. Like, if you settled and then you double back, shouldn't you get her money back if you got him convicted for rape, right? Just saying. Or is she going to try to go and sue now to try to get paid twice? It's a problem. Now, it is what it is because it's America, White women yell something, everybody wants to believe it. It is what it is. Except for this Me Too and Time's Up, people going to start picking out the stories like, nah. Same kind of that Aziz and Zari thing where she got a little tipsy, we had sex, and now all of a sudden, blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying? And the reason I go in on the Cosby thing right now is because I bet y'all stressed his daughter out to the point that she died with this bullshit. And all of y'all were willing to go along with it. So that's why I say it's a special place for y'all playing these games. And all the people who cases got dismissed and dropped because they was full of shit. And even though this lady Constantine is full of shit. It is what it is. Now the reason I bring Nas and Khalees into this is there's some sisters that, this is what y'all get from messing with white chicks. And Khalees just put out 9 years ago, me and Nas broke up because he abused me. He beat me, basically. And this is why, and I've been holding this on my chest forever and a day. And I had to let it off to let the world know. 9 years later. Oh, I didn't do it because the Chris Brown thing, and I was bruised the same time Rihanna was bruised. Now, Nas is a deadbeat because he just found out where his son goes to school, and it's like everybody has been knowing for years you've been very, very detrimental as far as their father-son relationship. That's public knowledge at this particular point because he's only paid child support consistently for 2 years, and it's like he's rich. Like he probably paid you up front for those years. You know what I'm saying? I'm only getting $8,000 a month, and that's not enough. I remember in the beginning she was getting $45,000, $50,000 a month. But when the baby was like a fresh, even right before the baby was born, she was getting at least $15,000 a month. So it's crazy. And the reason I bring this up is because the same way white chicks spin it to get attention and people jammed up in the system, sisters do the same thing. So when you say you need to watch them white chicks, I understand, you're right. But I want y'all to understand that y'all doing the same exact thing too. You know what I'm saying? Y'all the ones calling the cops and putting guys on child support and saying, "Oh, he scared me. I need he might have beat me. I need one of those. I need a order of protection." You know, so it's using the same system and the same tactics in some ways, coming out of the blue, almost 10 years later to say you got beat for what? Because the dude keeps making multi-million-dollar deals, and she knows she can't get that money anymore. Because part of her thing was they had ups and downs. The ups to her was when the money was high. And I think the thing about it is, you know, Bill Cosby was a target because the money was high, and the Khalees lows came when the money was low. But you know, if you think about back in the day when money was, Nas said she spent too much money back in the day, and that was an issue in their relationship. So same thing with these chicks with the Bill Cosby thing. Oh, when the money runs out, now you're a victim, and now we need to, you know, create a scenario. So I just want y'all to understand, like from a black man's perspective, we love black women, and yes. And if we date outside our race, I know y'all take it as an issue. I get that, but understand that the very same things that you say to watch them women out, watch what they're doing, y'all do it too. You know, the Brian Banks type stuff. You know, so that's why I had to put both of them together. I think they're gonna appeal this stuff because it's too much. It's too much. Like it's too much, and it's just way too much. Cause you know, and on the back end, I'm sure they're not gonna want, if they can put Bill Cosby in jail for this. You're gonna clearly see the hypocrisy in the quote unquote white privilege when all these other guys who came out with these sex scandals, like all of Fox News and all of that, Bill O'Reilly and AOs and all of that, like you're gonna see how all of a sudden, you know, when you actually have evidence, like real evidence, not he say she say, not fishy what happened this day but it didn't like not that stuff. You're going to see how people flip. So, you know, that's the end of this one. I'm out of here, y'all. Peace.